welcome to IMDB's Worst 100.
Today we're looking at number 77, Car 54, Where Are You?
Well, this is a film that came out in the 90s, and it is based on a TV show from the 60s. So, before anyone asks or
complains,
we have watched the TV show as well, so we are watching this from an informed point of view.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Car 54, Where Are You?
I think we're losing air. Hurry!
Okay, so the plot of this film, Car 54, Where Are You? So we've got our cop, Officer Toody, and he is a bit of a lax cop, it's insinuated, and he works in the Bronx, and he basically gets paired up with the new guy, who is played by Dr. Cox from Scrubs. I'm not actually sure what his actual name is, but I'm pretty sure most people would know him as Dr. Cox from Scrubs, so let's go with that.
Yeah.
Officer Tootie, I don't believe in idle chit-chat during patrols. It breaks up concentration and we just might miss a crime.
He's sort of like a naive do-gooder. It's a bit like Hot Fuzz, but not as funny.
Yeah.
Basically, the plot of the film follows a person who is going to testify in court against a mafiosa boss. And that mafiosa boss is played by Daniel Baldwin.
Get out of my house.
So, you know,
His finest role.
as far as the Baldwin brothers go, where does he rank? Sort of, he's a mid-level Baldwin, really, isn't he? Mid to low, but...
What?
Okay, well, they got a Baldwin. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
He's the mafiosa boss, and he's trying to kill the guy who's going to testify in court.
He's a goddamn bookkeeper, and I want you to blow the son of a bitch away before he testifies to the grand jury on Friday.
So this guy has been put into protective custody. They take him to the place where 2D and Dr. Cox, aka Muldoon, work. So there's a few different assassination attempts on the guy who's going to testify.
We have been permitted to alter the normal fare toward your dietary enjoyment.
So what are you doing? That's my dinner.
They aren't successful, but the chief realises we need to get this guy into hiding. So for some reason, he tasks 2D and Muldoon to look after him, even though they're clearly incompetent. I think his logic was no one would ever think that these people would be looking after him.
Yeah, that was.
Tootie! Perfect. Not even the mob would be desperate enough to hire him. Come on!
Yeah, so, hey, hijinks ensue.
You can't fault that logic. So.
Exactly, yeah. And they end up losing him, obviously, because I don't really know why. Some prostitutes steal his car.
Yeah, they left him in the boot overnight.
They left, yeah.
And the prostitutes casually stole the car.
Yeah, that's obviously something that just happens in the Bronx. So they try and get him back. 2D ends up going undercover and pretending to be a hitman.
Tell Don Marty, Detroit Dan is here.
It all culminates in this massive showdown in a fairground.
Massive showdown's probably a bit of an exaggeration.
To be safe, it's a tunnel of love. Do you mind? Do you mind?
A massive showdown. It all culminates in some men running through a fairground.
Yeah.
And in the end, they don't get him.
Arrest that man! I did it all! I confess! I did it!
And 2D, and Muldoon are happy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, really. Why is this film in the bottom 100 list?
Well, I guess it's voted in there because it's based, or apparently based, on a beloved TV show from the 60s that was... I don't know if it was really popular or not, but it seemed pretty cherished.
There's a hold-up in the Bronx, Brooklyn's broken out in fights. There's a traffic jam in Harlem that's backed up to Jackson Heights.
And, well, we watched an episode of the TV show after we watched the film. I'm actually glad we did it that way around, because it sort of put the film into perspective a bit. The reason people hated it so much was because it was just quite crass. The film was quite crass.
Francis is here. I thought just one night we could sit around and have some intelligent conversation.
So while you two are talking, what am I going to do? Why would I go out for hamburger when I got steak at home?
Do you mean it, Gunther?
Yeah, I mean it. Now make me a sandwich.
And not at all funny or charming or sweet, which the TV show, from what I can gather from what we watched, is. The characters are all wrong. Well, they managed to get more story in the 25-minute episode than they did in an hour-and-a-half film.
Yeah.
The TV show is funny, it's sweet, it's charming, the characters are a delight. I loved it.
He was only 25 years old. Look at me, I'm 36 and still a patrolman.
Don't feel bad, Francis. People were much younger then.
Yeah.
Having watched the film first, I thought this film's fine. I don't understand why it's in the bottom 100. And then when we went and watched the TV show, I thought, okay, now I get it. I get it so much because it's just literally from the opening of the film. Just so the TV show, as Emma said, it's very sweet. It's from the 60s. It's kind of like this really charming cleanness to it. It's harmless, but it's also, yeah. And then you've got the film, right? Which the opening line of is...
Where the fuck are you?
And I can just imagine these people who treasure this TV show just watching it, and that's the first line, and they'll just be like, oh, this is going to be shit.
Before we watched the TV show, the film, to me, did feel shit, but not bottom 100 shit. It just felt like a kind of shit thing. But yeah, I guess putting it in context, you can see why people were so cross about it.
I've got to want to emphasise, I actually didn't find it that bad when I watched the film.
Yeah.
I thought some of the jokes were funny.
That's a pity. I found in the past that familiarity breeds intimacy, which is an obstacle to any policeman's completion of his work.
Come on, I'll teach you how to bob balls.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't great at all, but it was certainly, I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad film. It's not great. It's pretty average. There were some interesting moments, but when you put it next to that TV show that it's carrying the flame for, that's where it suddenly makes sense. You can understand why people hated it. It's kind of like trashing something that people hold dear, isn't it?
I wouldn't say... I don't think the film was fine. I'd say it was bad, but it was watchable bad. It didn't make me cringe like some bad comedies did. It was watchable, but I don't think I could go as far as to say it was fine. I think I kind of struggled with getting a grip on the characters and their relationship and their sort of personalities.
Yeah.
Especially the two main characters. I couldn't quite grasp what they were going to be. Do you think you did? Have you got any idea?
The one that was actually really confusing for me was Dr. Cox, aka Muldoon. When you first are introduced to the character, he's like a stickler for the rules, a hard ass. He comes in and he's like, he's got no tolerance to anyone, has he? He's writing people up for sneezing in public. But then he has this whole subplot about falling in love with this woman who, I guess she's kind of got a thing for guys in uniform, and she's had a thing with most of the people in uniform.
I met a very wonderful woman last night.
Francis! Don't tell him.
Is Velma Valor.
Hey, did you ever fix that squeak when you put up the toilet seat?
And then he's portrayed as like really naive, and then he's like a mummy's boy, and he comes to dinner with his mum and stuff.
Come on in, Mom.
I felt a bit confused, like the way he was introduced felt a bit at odds as to how the character ended up being about halfway through the film.
That was something that confused me as well. Like they didn't really get a grasp on him at all, and yeah, he just sort of seemed to be two people. And again, I found it a bit confusing because they're both meant to be idiots, sort of thing. But I was just a bit confused from that because of the setup. With him, and I was like, is he meant to be an idiot? And it's the same with the other guy as well.
He seemed to be able to connect with everyone. He was sort of like everyone's friend, wasn't he? But he wasn't any good at his job. Yeah. That was kind of his character. I felt like that. I kind of got behind his character a lot more. I got that.
You didn't pay for that, did you?
Oh, well, Cards, my friend. I mean, who's gonna care?
Although I didn't like his performance because he did this annoying voice the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I was convinced when we were watching it that he must be imitating the guy from the show, but he wasn't really, was he? I mean, I think he kind of looked a tiny bit like him. It's probably why they picked him. Physically, like, they both kind of look like the characters. But
Yeah.
the performance was really odd. It wasn't anything like that guy. I don't get why. Now it just seems really strange. I was convinced. It's like, no, he's just obviously mimicking this guy.
Jesus.
Oh, brother.
The thing is, I don't have that much to say about this film. I thought it was okay. Actually, what I would say to people is go and watch the TV show, which is on YouTube. Just find some episodes of it. It's actually really good. It's not a bad film. We can't really tear it apart that much. It's not interesting enough to say anything good about. It's just another film off the list as we creep closer and closer.
Yeah.
Anyone who remembers the TV show is going to hate it.
Yeah. I feel
And
like
that's the only-
feel like they knew that when they were making it, but they still made it anyway.
My name is Dazie, you should know.
There's a holdup in the Bronx. Brooklyn's broken out in fights. There's a traffic jam in Harlem that's backed up to Jackson Heights.
Well, thank you very much for watching. They can't all be terrible, can they? I mean, they probably are, mostly, but this one wasn't. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to pretend that something's worse than it is.
Yeah, it was pretty bog standard your uncle.
Yeah. But that's it from us, so we'll see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our other videos. We've got quite a lot now.
I wonder how many hours you could spend just watching us doing the IMDb list now.
Oh, I wouldn't even want to think about it. I mean, obviously subscribe.
Bye!